Welcome to Newrealities. I'm Alan Steinfeld, and this program is about the evolution of our consciousness. And in this time of evolution, there are certain tools that are coming to people to assist us in this awakening of consciousness. That is why I'm so happy to have with me tonight Hope Fitzgerald. She's discovered, created, found this tool for the acceleration of our awareness and how we can use it as a spiritual technology. It's called the Infinity Wave, and thank you, Hope, for being here.
Thank you, Alan, so much.
It's a really fascinating design. Talk about how this came to you, you know, this like figure 8 flowing through. I mean, it's been around forever, but something unique about this matrix came to you. Can you talk about that?
Sure. It's my favorite topic.
it's your mission, right?
It is. So yes, the infinity sign has been around forever. Mm-hmm. And one would think that, well, it just is what it is, right? But what happened for me was that it appeared in a series of visions in late 2010.
This figure appeared to you?
Yes. It was the third in the series. Mm-hmm. Just to give a little background, I've always been a very spiritual person, but I've kept it very on the down low. You know, that's sort of my private Idaho.
Actually, I have to say, Hope is a very, I mean, you're a spiritual teacher. I mean, this is your path is spirituality.
Well, it is, but what I'm saying is that it was very private, okay? And then I had a very challenging year in 2010, and I was so depleted after the things that had happened that I went to sound healing workshops with one of your guests, Tom Kenyon.
Oh, Tom Kenyon.
Right.
He was a great guest. Yes.
And I came back from that delightfully empty, and during that time, I had made a pledge. I'd basically raised my hand and said, I am a willing vessel to Spirit, and do with me what you will. And that was the end of the time with him, and I came home feeling wonderful and empty in all the best ways. And within 3 days, I started to have these visions. The first one was a giant wall of water, basically. It was not threatening. It was beautiful. It was 10, 20 stories high. It was huge. And it was turquoise and lovely. And the message of this wave coming toward me was there's going to be a push of evolution. And if you want to do well with this, learn to swim, learn to surf. If you stand and resist, it's going to be a lot harder for you.
This is 2010.
2010. I had this waking vision, and then I had one that came right after it, and that was the cross-section of the wave. So if you turned the wave on its side, it would look like the letter C, you know, like a surfer would surf in that curl. And the byline that went with this image was, as the wave pulls away from the shore and deepens into the seabed to get its energy to create the crest, so you, meaning me, so you should leave everything you know on the shore and go to the earth and go to the wisdom of the earth and the wisdom keepers of the earth for your information. And then mix that with this, whatever this push of evolution was, and then instead of the water just falling down into the ocean again, it went like this. It became a figure 8 made of flowing water, okay?
Yes.
Now this image hung out in front of my line of vision like this for a couple of days. And I had no idea what it was. I had no idea. I thought I was maybe losing my marbles. Well, I have been a dowser for many years. And so I went and got my dowsing rods out, and I started to ask some questions to try to figure out what this thing was that was hanging out in front of me. Because it was a figure 8, you know, the word infinity popped in, and I asked, is it something to do with infinity? And the rod said yes. So I kind of went along those lines. So.
Hope is an expert dowser. She has understands the science of dowsing. It's not just yes and no. I mean, she taught me so much. Maybe we'll do a show on dowsing. But okay, continue.
That would be fun. Well, so I came to find out that this was called the infinity wave, that it is a 10th dimensional energetic. So for people who don't understand dimensions, that's okay.
Well, what is 10th dimensional? Because
Well,
I don't even understand. I mean, I know 4, maybe 5,
Right.
possibly 6, but
Well, honestly, when I discovered that this was a 10th dimensional energetic, I had to go and find out some idea of what that was too. All I can say right now, just to keep it simple, is that it is out of the dualistic world. It is not attached to any kind of duality, polarity, etc. And because of that, it is incredibly freeing, okay? So we'll revisit that a little bit later.
Okay.
But it's a 10th dimensional energetic, and the quality in that watery flow, it's moving, the qualities that are embedded in that watery flow are a very pristine level of love and compassion. Now, this is at a level that we as humans really almost never experience because we're dwelling lower down in the dimensional food chains, if
Right.
you will. So I then was told through my dowsing that I was to start creating workshops and teach a series of them throughout 2011.
this form was given to you as a messenger, but where did it come from? What's like the metaphysics behind its delivery to you?
Well, I don't really know, except that I was receiving these visions suddenly. I fully believe that my time with Tom Kenyon was a shamanic journey that really purged me out and lifted me to a new state of being. And in that state of being, I could be receptive to something like this. And because I had also said, I am a willing vessel, and I can say to anybody, be careful when you say that, because you don't know how your life is going to change. I had no expectations in my wildest dreams that I would become a spiritual teacher. That was
Why
really
not?
the last thing on the planet I expected.
But the thing I think about this is that it's a tool for awakening. So
Yes.
it's not just that it came to you and it's pretty and
Yes,
interesting.
yes.
How do we use this?
Okay. So one of the reasons that I didn't want to do these workshops was because I had no idea what I was teaching. Okay, this thing is called the infinity wave. It's 10th dimensional love and compassion. And what else? You know, if you have to teach a workshop, you need plenty more than that. In those days, I was not exactly bandying about the word evolution, much less conscious evolution, but my guides and assured me through my dowsing that these I would be taught, I would be given what I would need in order to lead these workshops. And so with much trepidation, I booked the room and I put out a little flyer, even though I had no idea what I was doing. And I say this because this is a trust walk. You know, if we want to awaken, I believe this blind faith trust walk is part of the journey. And so I say, you know, it is very scary to have your toe on the threshold, to walk through a door. You have no idea what's going to happen. And I believe it's a necessary step. If we really want to break free, and I think we all do want to be ultimately free beings, then we have to be willing to go places where we've never been before. And there are no guarantees, and our minds can't necessarily unlock what it is we're going to be doing. You see, that's super important.
The limited mind, the personality mind, can't really get the scope of the bigger visions. We have to just follow our intuition, our feelings, and that might be why you were given this.
I think I was willing to do that trust walk. Actually, going back to how I put those workshops together is really kind of important in this conversation, because what I did was I revisited information that I had been given at the Findhorn Foundation decades before, Teilhard de Chardin, the 19th century Renaissance man, philosopher, archaeologist, et cetera, had developed a theory of evolution that talked about a Superman as being the next evolution of Homo sapiens. And you know, way back when I was learning about this, there were people on the planet who were avatars and who were doing amazing things then, and there are so many more now. So in my lifetime, I have already seen this evolution taking place. Now, so when we have a shared idea that this evolution is a process that we are completely in, that it's not didn't just happen to apes and so on many thousands of years ago. You know, we're actually in this process too of becoming the superhuman with a more a brain that has more capacity, more intuition, more connectivity to one another and to everything around us. That's where we're headed. And also with a huge capacity for the heart to be working with the brain. The heart is the vehicle for the most electrical output from our body. It is what pumps. It is what creates the field around us.
It's like a wave itself. The heart actually, I guess the energetics of it looks like an infinity wave.
Yes, it does. Yes,
it does. The four chamber, the beats that go like.
And you know, the infinity shape is all over the place in nature and in the universe. And even the DNA strand, if you take the infinity and you twist it like that, it's everywhere. The sun, there's an elliptical in the sky created by when the Earth rotates, it creates a beautiful figure eight.
Well, if you look at the work of Nassim Haramein, he says everything has a spin.
Yes.
And it is this double toroidal spin, and that is the movement of the whole universe moves like that. That's the way chi moves. That's the way everything moves in that form that came to you.
Perfect, because one of the things that I began to be aware of is that we are living, of course we know we're living in a moving universe. So why not have a moving energetic to play with? Right? Okay, so I went and put together some evolutionary theory, and then every week I would sit down and I would channel, and what came out were these practices. And so I decided, since I had these beautiful crystal bowls, that I could maybe play a bowl and read the practice, and maybe that would be meaningful to people. And each practice had a different application of this infinity wave. So I was learning step by step, and then at the end of the month I'd go in with my 3 practices and whatever evolutionary teachings I could come up with, and science as well, because I love science and spirituality. And lo and behold, people had just amazing reactions, just incredible. So one of the ways that the wave can work, it can work in our bodies, first and foremost.
So this form, by imagining it in our bodies, we have to talk about how it works.
Okay, so first of all, the infinity wave, and this does rely on your imagination.
Of course, but that's why we have an imagination as a tool.
Exactly. It is a powerhouse, the imagination.
Yeah, we should use it more.
We absolutely should. Because if we allowed ourselves to climb out of that, oh, it's only your imagination thinking, we would be blown away by what's actually in there.
Right.
It is our connectivity to the other realms, I believe. So anyway, let's just imagine that there is this figure 8 made of flowing water. It can be any size. It can be itty bitty. It can be all the way up to the galaxy, okay?
Okay.
And if we're going to use it in our bodies, we can put it somewhere in the belly.
Over our bodies.
From the crown down under the feet. That's called the infinity cradle, and that's a beautiful practice. It's very peaceful. And you can just imagine that if you close your eyes and you run this moving watery flow, and it's water for a reason. Water breaks up blockages. You see, if we're going to evolve, that means we're going to change. most people, when they confront change, freeze up and get rigid and resistant. Water starts to loosen that up, starts to remove our resistances to change. So this is why when they told me the infinity wave is going to make your evolution easier, faster, more elegant, it's because if we are flowing, just like that big wall of water, we start to be able to move with the push of evolution. We're not resisting it, which is, as anybody knows, if you get knocked down by a wave at the ocean shore, you're going to go down into the sand, right?
Right.
So why not become more fluid? And why not have that fluidity bathe you in love and compassion? Now, when we get bathed in love and compassion, especially when it's at a very pristine, clear level, we start to feel pretty darn good.
Would you say water is love in that way? That it holds
water,
the energy of
the
that?
beautiful thing about water, and of course we know through all the scientific studies that have been done, water actually can take on a thought and be that thought. So it retains a consciousness, it retains. So we know that monks have meditated by ponds and they have gone from brackish to clear.
And we're all water.
And
I mean, we're what,
we are
80% water?
That's right. So now, if you take a watery flow of this infinity wave and you, let's say you're upset about something, okay? A lot of people get it in the belly. They get very tight. And I know I do. If I get angry, everything shuts down. It's good like that. If I take the infinity wave and I put it in my belly and I just run it and run it and run it, all of a sudden, everything starts to relax. Everything starts to let go. And my thought process, this has happened to me, my thought process immediately changes. As my body changes, my thoughts change. Oh, you know, what was my part in that conversation? Maybe I wasn't really that, maybe I was a part of this angry interaction that we had. And then as I keep running this wave and relax more and more, then I start to think, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to say this, and that's going to fix it. I'm going to apologize, I'm going to do this. And the next thing you know, you're almost laughing about how silly it was.
So people would picture this wave going through their body with some kind of thought, and things would just start to flow in a way, would start to clear, because it's a tool of consciousness.
Yes.
That's what you've been given, this
Yes,
tool.
it's a tool of, it does change your consciousness. So
Yes.
okay. So that's one way to use it. And you can also use it for pain. I've used it for pain many times. Even a very small one, but really fast running water.
Just imagine that
Yes.
on a part that's pain,
Yes.
that's in pain.
Headaches. I've had people write me, they have 3-day migraines, but they did the wave and it was gone in 30 minutes.
How long would you, 30 minutes, you'd
Yeah.
run this wave through you,
Yes.
imagining it.
Listen, there are a gajillion ways to use the wave. I don't know them all, but I'm throwing out a few because it's really, think of it as a living energetic. If you invite the wave to dance in your life, then it will start to show you how it wants to be used. And if you open your imagination to it, you'll find yourself, you know, in a bubble of waves. You'll find yourself in, and they might be different colors and they might be different paces. You can also direct it. So you can use it in your body a variety of ways to change your emotional state, to help your sense of any kind of pain or discomfort you're having in your body, helping you to get back to sleep, you know, putting a nice calm wave on you in the middle of the night. I do that. So those are a couple of ways to use it with your body. Now, you were talking about we are water.
Yes, we are water,
Okay.
most of us.
I love this one because the wave is a fabulous communication tool.
Okay.
Okay. So if we're going to use it between two human beings, think of it this way. The water in you and the water in me is now going to connect through the watery flow of a 10th dimension of love and compassion. Now, what do you think the chances are that we are going to have a really good conversation.
I'm feeling you now. I'm feeling,
Exactly.
I am. I'm feeling
Exactly.
that. Once you started doing it, I started to
Yes,
feel your
that's
heart
right.
open.
That's
we should have
right.
did this at the beginning of the conversation.
Well, no, because I love the demonstration.
Oh, I
You
feel, yeah, that's good. I really feel it. I recommend people doing that.
Yeah.
That if you sitting with somebody and maybe you're not getting along, flow that wave between you and see if something changes. Let me know too.
Absolutely. It's one of my favorite things. If I'm waiting in line at the grocery store or at the, at the bank or whatever, I wave the teller, I wave whoever.
Just wave to everyone.
I just wave to everybody. And the benefit is it's going like this. So anybody I wave, I'm waving myself to.
You're waving back to yourself.
I am always, it's like it sets an equal playing field, right? So what I give, I receive. What I give, I receive. And I'm not doing it to receive, but it's just the way life should be. It should be a beautiful flow like that. And what I've found is because it's full of this love and compassion, and I always say other trace minerals because I don't know everything else that's in it, but it usually brings out the best in people.
So you've developed a lot of technologies with this, a lot of things that you can do. I've listened to your meditation. Hope has an amazing meditation series on the Infinity Wave that you can order online. But what other tools? So you can imagine it through your body, imagine it through someone else.
Yes. So use it as a communication tool. And you don't have to tell somebody that you're running the wave. You can do it quite silently. The other thing is you can communicate, and this is really beautiful, with anything else. Literally, rocks, trees,
With
the
the
stars.
wave, by
with
using
the
the
wave.
wave.
Yes.
Okay.
The planet, animals, you'd be amazed. And this is where the more you do it, the more your intuition starts to open up and the more you hear. And you start to realize you are literally plugged into that tree in a beautiful way. And you're plugged into that star or that moon or sun. And all of a sudden, this natural world opens up. And I think this was what was meant by the second vision that I had. Go to the earth. Go to the wisdom of the earth. Because when that opens up as the beautiful other half of spirituality, then truly you are living in a paradise on earth. So let me explain that for a minute. When we say as above, so below, I don't think it means way up there in the heavens and down here on the surface of the earth. I think it means the heavenly realms, or the universe, whatever you want to call it, and the earth itself, okay? As above, so below. These are two equally spiritual realms.
It's this flow dynamics.
Right. And we're perched here right in the center. We're in the middle. So what I like to do is to imagine this wave wrapping way up and then coming through me somewhere in the center of my body and then down into the earth. And as it does that, you're mixing all the elements up. You're mixing the earth of you and the divinity of you. And remember that the earth has a presence and probably would like to get a lot of things done, but is hampered by being an earth, right? And likewise, our friends and guides and angels, or whatever you want to call the universe, they are disembodied, right? They can't affect change either, except by whispering in our ears. We can. We can have access to both realms, and we can take action, and we can make things happen. I believe this is the blueprint of being a human on this planet. It's our divine blueprint, really.
Which is taking action with the creative force of our imagination?
Yes, understanding that we are of these two realms, that we can listen above and below, and it can move us to be our awakened, free selves in a body on the planet.
How, though? How
Okay.
do we use it?
Okay.
Yes.
So the wave also allows us to communicate with our highest selves, with Creator, with our guides, with whoever, whatever you want. And in that sense, it is a device that takes you direct. We do not need an intermediary anymore. We probably never did. And to understand that we are our own gurus, that we have a unique path to walk to our awakening, and it almost doesn't matter what that path is. It doesn't matter all the ingredients that went into it and all that. What matters is that we awaken. So to have this device, to open ourselves more and more to the wisdom above and the wisdom below, now we start to learn, we really start to grow, and we really start to evolve. At least that's my experience. And the beautiful thing about it is that we do it with joy. It doesn't have to be full of suffering. It doesn't have to be hard. It doesn't have to be wrapping your mind about something really tough. It's actually very simple.
Like what? I mean, I like what you're saying, and I think you're a great teacher and spiritual teacher in understanding the dynamics of existence. But tell me then about that. It can be simple just by doing the wave thing, or?
You know, the wave, as you said in the beginning, the wave is a tool.
Yes.
Okay. So whatever person's philosophy, religion, spiritual bend, whatever that is fine. You can park the wave right next to it, and it is non-denominational, and it will enhance whatever it is you believe. Whatever it will just give it a boost, make it open up and out, and speed things along. You know, we really don't have all the time in the world to make this evolutionary push happen. I mean, it is happening. We need to get on board. We need to move it along. And to me, it makes perfect sense that we have a nonverbal tool. It can go anywhere in the world. It can sit with any kind of language. It's fast, it's simple to imagine, and it's effective.
Thank you for sharing it.
Well,
With, I mean, being the
once
vehicle.
I said yes, there was no turning back.
I've been talking to Hope Fitzgerald, the Infinity Wave, and stay tuned. Thank you. This is Alan Steinfeld for Newrealities.